Hi there, and welcome to my very first episode of BROC Talk. I'm your host, Vicki Loomis with BROC Community Action. For those of you not familiar with BROC Community Action, our mission is to offer hope, opportunity, and a path forward through our many programs. On today's show, I'll be speaking with my colleague Meg Hanna, Community Food Shelf Coordinator, and special guest Barry Meehan, President of Gabriels Children. Our topic is Fighting Hunger, Feeding Hope in Rutland County. Welcome, Meg.
Welcome. Thank you.
As Community Food Shelf Coordinator, can you tell us a little bit about what you do and what that involves?
Absolutely. So I am responsible for the food operations at BROC Community Action. I operate our food shelf in Rutland, and we have a second in Bennington as well. We also do outreach programs like Feed the Freezer, which keeps meals available for those in need, and different community efforts, Bridging the Gap, working with other organizations, Gabriels Children, some of the city schools and things of that nature. So we do all kinds of stuff.
And speaking of Bridging the Gap, we have
Yes.
Barry Meehan here of Gabriels Children. You worked together this summer on...
We did.
And can you tell us a little bit about Gabriels Children?
Surely. Gabriel is the Archangel Gabriel, who is the protector of children. We named the organization some years ago, and then we were registered as a nonprofit with the IRS. We worked in Fairhaven for a while, and then we moved into Rutland, courtesy of Trinity Church. A couple of years ago, Trinity agreed to let us use their kitchen, and out of that kitchen we made soup. And once we got the kitchen, I contacted Tom Donahue and said, we need food. So he got back and said, well, if you get in touch with Meg, she probably will help you. And Meg has been a great help. So Trinity have provided the kitchen. BROC provides much of the food, and then our donors, we're all volunteers at Gabriel's, but we have donors to cover our expenses, and what food we don't have, we are able to buy. So at the moment, we're delivering to the motels in Rutland where people who are homeless live. So 5 days a week we have a delivery of soup that is made fresh at Trinity. And I would mention that we're particularly fortunate that Bill Gillum is our chef, and I can guarantee that everything is made from scratch. It really is a good soup that we send out. So we're very happy to be doing that. And when we did it last year, because of the connection with Meg and with BROC, we talked about the situation of school students who, during the summer, not as many go for free meals as through the year.
Right.
How do you contact them? So we started the Bridging the Gap.
Yes.
And the schools, we approached the schools.
Yep.
And that was in four places last year, and we hope we can do it again this year.
And
We
this
had a good summer.
Yeah, this summer was the pilot program.
This summer was the
Yes.
pilot program. We did serve over 1,000 meals throughout the summer, so it was very, very good, very successful. We covered we did Monday through Friday, so the first Monday after school ended until the day before school began. There was access in 4 community sites to meals.
Nice.
Yeah, it was very good.
Yeah, and it'll do nothing but expand going forward, I'm sure.
Yes. So, and you know what's interesting, and you were talking about Bill Gillum, we have the world of Bills, because Billy Morello, who worked with Barry last summer on the program and then came to work with us at BROC Community Action, still is involved in both programs. So he's a food angel for Gabriel's Children and delivers those soups every afternoon. So he works with us during the day and goes out and makes sure he delivers those soups in the afternoon.
Nice. So collaboration is key.
Everything.
Collaboration is key, and it all began with Trinity opening up their doors to us, and they helped us during the summer program too, and a number of our volunteers are from Trinity Church, so we're very grateful to them. And we're very grateful to BROC because food is expensive.
Yes.
Yes.
And when you're dealing with quantities we're dealing with, and we rely on small donations, BROC has made a great difference to what we're able to do. And because of the summer program, I went on the radio and was heard by the manager for Dunkin' Donuts in this area, Mary Ann Gloss, who then called me and said, we have a children's foundation and you should apply for help. So she explained that the foundation is called Joy in Childhood. It does two things. It fights childhood hunger and it helps children in hospitals. So we qualified under the hunger. She recommended us to the board and we made an application, and she said, you'll find out in December. So we got a Christmas present in December.
Yeah. So a large part of what we did, a large part of what I do as well is the community piece, and making sure, as we know at BROC, that we collaborate and that we work with our community partners. Without the collaboration, we wouldn't have most of what we do.
Right.
So it works. We have the events, the Stuff-A-Bus, the letter carrier drive, and of course we have the Newlywed Game coming up this Saturday.
Weekend, yes.
Yes, at the Paramount. So that is a fundraiser directly for the food shelves in Rutland. So these partnerships and these collaborations help us cover all of the areas so that we don't have as many gaps to fall through, so that we have programming that's available across the board.
So this Christmas present you received, what is the plan?
So we put in a proposal, and on the basis of that proposal, we were given $10,000. And
Thank you, Duncan.
so we're
Thank you,
very
Duncan.
grateful to Duncan. And Duncan explained that they have a fundraiser during the fall, and that money goes into the foundation. And they were pleased that it came back to Rutland because nobody from Rutland had asked them for help before. So that was really neat. But what was funny about it was we got a parcel in the mail, and you pulled it apart and it said you have been given this grant. And then next day the check came in the mail.
Oh, that's fast.
And so I was in talking to Meg, and I said, we've just got the grant. She said, well, funny you should say that because we've just had a request.
Yes. Yep. So and that's what seems to happen is, and that's the collaboration piece, that somebody came to me with a request that we were able to help to a degree, but it needed a more permanent solution. So when I spoke with one of our partners, which is Barry and his organization, he had the solution, just came in the mail in a nice gift-wrapped box. So I was able to facilitate a connection with a local high school, and we accomplished the goal of putting in a refrigerator at the school that is stocked with supplies for students that are in need of something to eat.
We had the fridge in storage from when we were in Fairhaven. So with some difficulty, we got the fridge in last week.
Yeah, I heard it was a little trouble through the door jams.
The doors had to come off and go on and the rest of it, but we got it in. And then we went down to a supermarket, and we will refill it now. The grant will cover us for the year, although we will use if there are other needs. We're particularly interested in helping, say, families that are in a crisis. So if that comes to our attention, we will use that money for that as well.
And so there won't be as many hungry children in class.
Exactly.
We hope. Yeah.
Yes, we hope. And this is the fighting hunger, the feeding hope kind of how they work together.
Right.
So not only are you filling the basic need, that your stomach is growling, you can't really focus, maybe you have a headache, all of the things that we know come with being hungry or hangry, and how we react to those things. So the one is to fill that basic need, and the other is to provide the hope that you're in a community where folks care,
Right.
that you have this basic need that needs to be filled. And there is a huge variety of reasons that children are not necessarily accessing some of the lunch programs and things that are available to them, that people don't think about, or you're aware of, but it's not really in the forefront. Lunchrooms, as we know, if you reflect back on school days, are somewhat complicated.
Yes.
They can be tricky to navigate. You may be somebody that's not comfortable in that environment. Maybe you got off to school, running start late, didn't have a chance to grab something to eat. Maybe there wasn't something to eat. So whatever brings them in to the refrigerator, which is Gabriel's food angel refrigerator. So whatever brings them into that refrigerator, there's now wonderful snacks and things available, and I was happy to be able to facilitate that.
Oh, definitely, and it takes that worry piece off too. They
Yes.
know that if they're hungry, there is a place they can go.
Yes.
They don't have to worry about
Yes.
where they're going to find it, which I think will help with focus.
And teenagers are constantly hungry.
Yeah.
And even if you're going in for an aspirin or because it's in the nurse's station, but if you're in need of even medication, or your stomach's just not feeling well, or it's in between school food service times,
Right.
and maybe you just need a cheese stick to get you through, or a granola bar or some crackers. So those things are available.
And
now.
it's little snacky things, like you mentioned, cheese sticks or granola bars,
Yep.
right up to sandwiches.
Right up to, the
Fruits and
supplies to make,
vegetables.
exactly. Yep.
Nice.
Yeah, so
Nice.
it's good.
Yeah.
I think they have cereal and milk.
Yep, cereal, variety, we've tried to accommodate the variety of
And there'll be a
of
little
needs.
pantry built, is that
Yes,
correct?
that's what they're working on, yeah. So it's been it's these collaborations that have allowed us to really reach some of the more vulnerable pieces of our population.
You know, during the summer program at BROC, one of the places was BROC, where Meet and Billy, who works with us, was part of the team that was distributing to kids. So the kids were around a table, and one child wasn't eating very quickly. And Billy said, well, why don't you have that sandwich? And the child said, oh no, I'm taking that home to mom.
Oh,
And
Yeah.
it's this whole hunger thing that is. We had a fundraiser down in Connecticut in June. I worked at a university down there before I came to Vermont. And it was a recital for students, a piano recital. And they, as part of the recital, they made a donation to Gabriel's. But people couldn't comprehend that there would be hunger. It's a very hard thing here in the United States
Right.
to think, the wealthiest country in the world, that somehow we can't feed our own people. And this is a very serious problem. And if you go to BROC, I mean, I'm in and out all the time.
Yes.
These people are coming through. And what is really nice about the way BROC does it is people come in, they talk with you, Meg, and go over their situation. And then when they go into the food pantry itself, they're assisted. You can do this, you can get this, and what have you. So it is a very positive experience going in. But it's, in some ways, a very negative experience to think that somewhere like BROC needs to exist. And it really does need to exist.
oh, absolutely.
If BROC did not exist, a lot of people would be a lot worse off.
Yes.
But it treats, when everybody goes in, anybody goes in, they are treated with dignity. I was in Australia for a number of years, and I taught English at high school, and there's one Australian poet, and he's called Bruce Dorr. And he wrote this poem about everybody having an identity. And he said, if you look at the map of South America, even at the very bottom, where nobody lives, that place has a name. I think it's Tierra del Fuego. He said, and everybody has a name, everybody has an identity, everybody has dignity. And I think the way BROC runs its operation, it does that.
Thank you.
It really gives dignity to those people. And that's the principle for Gabriel's Children as well. We want to be unobtrusive, we want to be in the background, and we want to help. So when we go to the motels, we ask how much do you need, and the managers will tell us, and that's our part, and then it's distributed. St. Vincent de Paul, who is the patron of charity in the Catholic tradition, used to tell the people of Paris who were wealthy, he actually had a bakery, and they'd come and buy the baked goods, and he'd say to them, you should thank God that you are in a position to help those who need your help. Remember, you are the ones who are privileged here, not the other way around. And I think that principle works.
It absolutely.
It's a very
Because
important
it is a
principle.
privilege to be able to serve
Yes, it is.
the community.
And serve in a way that people feel comfortable when they need a help.
That's
Yes.
the key to it all.
Right.
Yes.
There's nothing worse than when people who are in a position to give look down on those upon whom they...
Right, they're assisting.
And it's absolutely clear at BROC that is not the
No.
attitude.
And we
are here to
we serve, and exactly, and that's the big word, is that we serve the community.
Right.
It's not that we assist, we serve. We are there to serve the people of Rutland County and Bennington County. And it's somewhat complicated. And you're doing wonderful learning, because Vicki's relatively new. She's well, not as new as she once was.
Working on
but
6 months.
yes, but the ins and outs of the program. So even yesterday we were discussing the difference. You had a question on hunger versus food insecurity.
Right. So people think, hungry is the same as food insecurity, and that's not the case at all.
No.
They're two totally different things.
Yes.
So if you could help us
I absolutely
understand a little better.
I would be happy to. And hunger is that immediate need. Your stomach growls. You're hangry. That word again. You need something to eat, and that's what being hungry is. And our programs address that very directly. We offer food, and that fills the need for hunger. Barry's program offers food. Motel, the refrigerator, summer meals, we're offering food. Food insecurity is that feeling of not knowing where your next meal is going to come from. So where we might be hungry, geez, it's lunchtime, I'm hungry.
Right.
Food insecurity is not knowing that when you wake up the next day, you will have something to eat. And that's where it all starts to get a little complicated. So we address the one need of hunger by having the food available, and then we offer programs like assisting with 3 Squares applications,
Right.
which is SNAP benefits, federally known food stamps, known before that, all the same program. We help folks be able to access their resources so that they feel a little more secure, and when you feel more secure, you feel more hopeful. And that's why we offer the hope and the opportunities. We try to make programming available that helps to lift people when they're feeling low.
And this is a very important part of the education that's involved. One of the co-workers you have is Carol, who sits down with people and analyzes their budget. Because oddly enough, sometimes we don't really realize how we're spending. So she will say, here's the month, here's your income, let's itemize each thing. And that really helps people.
Oh, it absolutely helps
Oh, it's a
people.
big eye opener.
Because then you realize, well, you might have some flexibility. If you cut this out, you can do that. And that's her job, and she's busy every day helping
Yes.
people do that. But you mentioned lunch. Sometimes we get a reminder from above about things. And I was driving out of one of the shopping plazas in Rutland, and there's a guy with a sign. And I thought, well, I'm going to lunch, and he doesn't have lunch. So I gave him my lunch money, and then went off to Ginger China. So I've just put in my order, and the waiter comes across, and he said, "Oh, sir, that person over there has just paid for your lunch."
Oh, nice.
And it was a friend of mine I hadn't seen for a while, and they were, but they didn't know what had happened before.
Yeah.
So, and in a way, it is passing it on, isn't it? That's
Paying
what
it forward.
Paying it forward. That makes the world go round.
When I first received that original email from Tom Donahue, that a gentleman, Barry Meehan, was going to be reaching out, and he gave him the stamp of approval, that this is somebody you should definitely work with when he passes through your door. And who knew, really, that it would turn from one collaboration into the next.
Three, yeah.
And it's allowed, by doing that, it solidifies your standing in the community so that other folks are comfortable approaching as well. So we do try to help wherever we can. If somebody, for one of their community meals, because there's many community meals,
Yes.
and we will offer surplus bread that we have, or surplus produce, or baked goods, because we're very fortunate to have the local stores as a resource with the Vermont Food Bank to be able to fresh food recovery. So we're able to get that product in, we're able to make sure it gets back out. We don't like anything to be wasted. We offer a lot that isn't shelf stable, so that's a ticking time. So we want to make sure that that product is going out and not being wasted. So we are constantly trying to source and sort where everything goes.
Yeah, and we were talking
You've
about that
seen it.
yesterday. Is people think food shelf and they think canned goods, canned beans and soup, but there's fresh produce, there's fresh meat, fresh vegetables and bread.
Yes.
All of that's available daily.
And often in our lobby.
Yes, put right out in the lobby so people can come in and just grab what they need.
Anytime. Yep.
Absolutely.
With no barrier whatsoever.
Right.
Yep.
And then we offer things like the Feed the Freezer meals, which is you cook those once a month?
Twice a month, and we actually have one this afternoon. We'll be making lamb stew for that. We do those twice a month, and anywhere from 200 to 300 meals. We work with community members who have volunteered their time and to come in and make these meals that we then stock a freezer that we have in our lobby with variety for folks that are in need of something.
And they can come in and get an already cooked meal that they can put in their freezer.
It's that addressing the immediate hunger thing. And then once you have the people, you can discuss the other alternatives and let them know that there are things that are available to help them when times are difficult.
Right.
And when I was in BROC last week, there was a gentleman who'd been to the Methodist church the night before. And he said, they had food for 300. I think about 100 people turned up. But the Methodist church has breaking bread.
Yes.
Is that once a month?
They do once a month, and they also have the comfort zone.
Which
so
is
they're
the
doing breakfast Monday through Thursday.
And we work with them during the summer. Grace Congregational has a monthly meal.
Trinity has a monthly meal.
And Trinity has, and also at Trinity, the Zen group have a weekly meal on Fridays at lunchtime. There's all these things going on, and it brings the best out of people.
It does.
We wish that the need wasn't there, but if the need is there, then many people are coming together, and many in very quiet ways. I've been approached by people who are saying, look, I want to remain anonymous, but can we help in some way? And I think it brings the best out of people.
There's a reason I think community is in our name.
Yes.
Because without the community, it just doesn't work. So I'm really proud to have the partnerships that I've developed with the folks that I've developed, and the working partnerships with the other organizations in Rutland.
Yeah, and we just found out the other day that Vermont 211 in Rutland County, BROC Community Action, is the most referred agency in 2019.
Yes.
We had, I think it was 228 referrals, which is incredible.
It's a big accomplishment.
It really is.
Yeah.
We're really, really proud of that.
Yeah, we are proud of that. Yep.
So we have dreams as well, isn't
We
that
do.
right?
We do. We have hope ourselves.
We have hope ourselves, and would maybe it'd be possible. The pop star Bon Jovi?
Yes.
He runs 2 restaurants in New Jersey, and I think he might be opening a 3rd.
I think I just read. Yeah, he just opened a 3rd. I think.
Yeah, and it's for college students who don't.
Yes.
This is very serious.
It is.
College students who don't have enough to eat.
Yeah.
So he's opened this restaurant, and they will volunteer. But his principle is that people come in and they volunteer, and he doesn't charge anything. And it's been incredibly successful, again, unfortunately, in a way.
Yeah.
But it might be nice if we could do something like that in Rutland.
It would be nice.
If there's a restaurant space where we could have maybe once a week or maybe more.
Yes.
Because again, when families celebrate, to go out is pretty expensive.
Oh, yes.
Wouldn't it be great if we had a place where families could come, the whole family, and instead of them having to make the meal, they could volunteer, do part of it, but they could celebrate
They could
together.
celebrate.
That's
their
something
accomplishments, yeah.
we've talked about. It seems impossible.
Yes.
So that's why we should aim for
But
it.
nothing,
Isn't that right?
right, that's right.
It
Nothing
would
is
definitely be
impossible.
utilized for sure.
Yes, nothing is impossible.
But you know, especially families to come together for a celebration, it is really expensive to go to restaurants.
Oh,
if
it
you've got 3
absolutely
or 4
is.
children.
Yes.
By the time everything is paid for. If there was a place where you knew you could go and you could contribute in kind,
Yes.
I think it'd be marvelous.
And it would be a good lesson.
And we do see that
Right.
often, is that for some of our, like Stuff a Bus
Yes.
events, that community members come back and help with that process, help unloading the buses, help sorting things or doing what you need. We have many folks that offer to volunteer their time when money is not necessarily an option, which has always been my take
Right.
on things with the family and the kids early on.
Yeah, they volunteer at all ages.
Right, I knew throwing money at things was not in my cards to do, so I've always tried to be involved with my time and what I can donate, and then food, which I know seems to be my fallback on how to get people fed. So we are always looking for volunteers at our organization for the different programming.
Yes, we're
for
always
doing
taking
events.
applications.
Yes, and looking to assist even with the Vermont Food Bank and sorting on our behalf, which is the new one that we were just discussing. And I know Barry's always looking for food angels.
Yes, we have a volunteer intensive program, VIP. And yes, we do need volunteers. We need drivers, we need kitchen help, because everything is volunteer that we do.
Right.
So, and we have a website.
I was just going to
And
say,
it's
anybody
Gabriel-
who's interested in volunteering.
Yeah, you can do it through the website, gabrielschildren.org. And yes.
And we're hoping to work with the grandparent program this summer. And we've reached out and had some discussions and need people of that age that are interested. And it's a part-time position. It is funded. I'm not sure of the ins and outs of how they do their funding, but for the summer meals program. So if we have interest in folks or folks that are interested in helping with that particular program, to contact as well.
Great.
Yes, and you can find me at mhanna@broc.org.
Or you can call the main line,
Or call the main line.
775-0878.
Yep, and reach out.
Yes, for
Yeah.
sure.
So we're busy,
We always
busy.
always busy.
Yes,
Busy and productive and hopeful.
and hopeful.
Yeah.
Yes. So we fight hunger, we feed hope.
Meg,
we do what we
Meg
can.
wouldn't tell you this, but I think I should mention it before we
Uh-oh.
go off. A gentleman came in one day and I was there, and he was in great distress. He really was very, very upset. And the staff at BROC were marvelous. First of all, they sat him down and got him comfortable. And then Maggie went across to him and just very gently spoke with him. He did, in fact, need to be hospitalized, and BROC organized it. But he knew where to come for help.
Right.
And that is really what it's
Right.
about, to know where you can go for help.
And that's kind of the mission of your show, is to make sure people know.
That's right. BROC Community Action is here to help our community.
Yes.
And we have partners who also have the same goal
goal,
and vision. So we're happy to work together and do as many projects as we
Right.
can to help those who need it.
Yes, thank you.
So thank you for coming on.
Been a
Yeah,
privilege.
wonderful. We're glad to be on your inaugural episode, Vicki.
Thank you.
Can we come again tomorrow?
Always, always. You have an open invitation.
Yes, yes, you're doing wonderfully.
Thank you. So
You're
thank you
welcome.
for joining us on this episode of BROC Talk, and we will talk again.